Coach, I guess first thing we gotta ask is your thoughts on Joe announcing he's retiring.
Yeah, like I said, I keep getting to answer that question, and every time you ask me, it depresses me. I feel depressed. Um, Tough thing to swallow, you know. Joe was such a huge presence uh, on our team, and he's been a huge presence for me through the years. I guess he played 16 years, and except for his first year with Rain or Shine, and then his first year with Sam Mig, I've coached him 14 years. So he's my longest tenured player that more than Johnny or JoJo or any of those guys. So um, he's been such a huge presence around, on the team and with me. He's our chemistry guru. He was the one that always set up the chemistry for our team. He was the one that motivated players. He was the one, if a player had a problem, they'd go to him and talk to him first before, the coaching staff ever heard about it. Early in his career, he was a great player. He was a player who could play any position. He could play point guard. He was the initiator in our triangle for many, many years. And so, in the beginning, it was all about his skills. But as he started to grow as a player and grow as a person and get a little older, it became more about his personality and his leadership and his relationships with his players. He was the one guy that really knew about relationships and how powerful they could be, and how he could use them to his advantage. And so, he's a special guy. I just talking to Jared Dillinger before we came over here, and he told me that, throughout their careers, they were always on rival teams, Talking Tex, San Coffee, Talking Tex and Ginebra. And but when they became teammates, he said it was like he's been my friend forever. And he said, in all honesty, he said he's the top 5 in terms of being the all-time best person he's ever met. So that's the kind of impression Joe leaves on people. Just a great, tremendous person, and someone that's just I feel literally daily insecure not having him there to help me out and to talk to players and be there. So that's a huge void we're going to have to fill on the team. It's not going to be easy, but someone's going to have to step up. We're going to have to figure out a way to keep that chemistry and leadership going without him.
Coach, did Joe consult you? Did he tell you about this ahead of time?
Yes, we had talked. I knew. I mean, it wasn't a shock to me. We had talked, and I had offered him a place in the coaching staff. If there was a way to work it out, but he decided that he wanted to explore possibilities that he may have in the United States. So he's there now doing that. I wouldn't be surprised to see if we hear him coaching somewhere. So we'll see what he does with that. But he's got a welcome place back with us. We understand and know his value, and we certainly love to have him back at any time that he's ready to come back. But right now, he's just exploring his chances in the States.
Coach, it's not just Joe that will be missing in terms of a veteran presence. Sir Al Francis confirmed that Mark will not be playing again this conference. Just your thoughts on not having, that other veteran for your team.
Well, Mark wanted to really quietly retire. That was his thing. We asked him for a ceremony. We asked him to retire his number. And he turned it all down. Said, "No, I don't want any fanfare. I'd just rather retire quietly." So he has, retired. He hasn't been attending practices, and apparently he's not under contract anymore. I haven't had a chance to speak to him, but I know he's been in contact closely with Al Francis Chua. So again, another guy. I think the thing with Mark that always amazed us was his ability to be a standout every day in practice. I mean, he always was doing something that would kill somebody in practice. Excuse me. And he was just a really nice person to be around. And I think That's what we're going to be lacking. Joe was a great guy. Mark was a great guy. And they kind of created the culture that we have on the team where everybody gets along, everybody supports each other. There's no backfighting or fighting for playing time or fighting for shots on our team. And I think that really was established by Joe and Mark being such good people and being selfless. And so, yeah, we're going to miss that veteran presence badly.
Coach, how can we confirm that this is Mark Aguiwa, so he's retired, or he's just not under contract anymore?
Well, again, I mean, you're talking to the wrong person. I haven't spoken to Mark, but it's my understanding that we did talk to him about retiring, and he didn't want any fanfare when it did happen. We're hoping at some point him and JJ will come back and give the fans a chance to have a proper goodbye, but that's really up to them.
Coach, just pivoting to the players that you still do have on your team, your thoughts on Scotty being a top contender, I guess, for the season MVP for last year?
Well, it'd always be nice to have Scotty win an MVP. I think it'd be great for his career. It'd be great for his confidence. Nothing's ever going to make Scotty from being humble. Scotty will always be humble. I mean, he'd be Bill Gates or someone like that. He'd still be the most humble person on the planet. He's just a really humble guy. So I don't worry about him getting a swelled head from winning the MVP because he's just not that kind of guy. It won't affect him in the way he plays and stuff. But I think it will help his confidence. And so I'd like to see him get it, obviously. I think Mikey is a really great player also, and I think it's truly a great fight. They're different types of players. It really comes down to the kind of player you like, I think for the voters. But I just think what I'm most proud about is Scotty's development and how much he's improved. And I still think he's just scratching the surface of his potential. He still can be a lot better. We're going to try to keep the ball in his hands more than we did in the last conference. And I think that role will just grow and grow and grow as he continues forward.
Coach, we can see Stan with you today. Can you give us an update on his health and whether he'll play this conference?
I was just saying that Stan pain-free. In terms of injury, I think he's 100%. But in terms of his game, and in terms of his full athleticism and explosiveness, I think he still has a ways to go. I'd say he's about 80-85%. But he's back fully in practice. He will be available for game one unless something happens for the first game of the season. We expect him to play the conference. But I still think he's building strength. And that's going to be an ongoing process, I think, through the Olymps. Kind of like with Justin. Justin came in, he wasn't 100%, but he built strength through all the time, and we're hoping that that'll happen with Stanley, and he'll get right at the right time. So he, like I said, he's not 100%. He is 100%, but not 100%. You know what I mean? He's still got his game, has plays to go, but physically, I think he's pain-free, and that's really the key. He's no longer feeling the pain.
Just jumping up on that, Coach, how about Japeth?
I don't think Japeth has any restrictions at this point. I think his calf is fully healed. You do worry that with a calf injury, they can always recur. That's one of the things that calf injuries do, they recur. But I think he's far enough away right now that we don't have to worry about that specifically. He does do daily stuff to prepare that calf for practice every day and games. I think that's something he'll have to do for the rest of his career. But at this point, I think it's far enough away from the injury that we can safely say he's 100%.
JD, Coach, any updates?
JD, I think will be signing a contract in the next day or two. So what I spoke to him earlier, I think that he's okay with what's going on and how we're going to approach this season. And I think he's going to sign in a day or two. We couldn't put him on the initial 15-man roster because he wasn't under contract. But I think he'll be under contract. Unless something that I don't know happens. But the last word I got from JD is that he's good with everything and it's just a matter of signing.
Is he here in Manila right now?
Oh yeah, he's been here. He never left.
Okay.
He never went back to the States or anything. He's been here rehabbing throughout the whole since the finals. So he's not back in practice fully yet. He's doing some basketball-related activities, but he's not fully engaged yet. But we expect him. I expect him to miss maybe the first 2-3 games of the eliminations, but by that time I think he'll be back, ready to go.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.